All right, so we are on S50, Lesson 7 of Module 5. Our homework tonight is problem number 3, which is this one right here. So let's take a look at this. The equation y equals 1, 2, 3x describes the function for the number of toys y produced at toys plus in x minutes of production time. So it's saying that y equals the total number of toys produced, and x represents the time. So in 5 minutes, they can produce 600 toys. Another company, Number 1 Toys, has a similar function, also linear, meaning it would form a straight line that assigns the values shown in the table below. Which company produces toys at a slower rate? Explain. So, actually, here's your equation for toys plus y equals, I'll actually do it like that, y equals 1, 2, 3x, and then we have Number 1 Toys. Number 1 Toys. We need to determine what the slope is, because the slope is our rate. We know that it's a constant rate because it's linear. And that's this table right here. So we need to figure out what our slope is. So in order to do that, we want to look at this table and treat it as points on a line or on a graph. So we're going to use that formula we used to determine the slope between 2 points, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, I'm going to give you just a minute to make sure you have that written down. That is our formula to find the slope between 2 points. Okay, and now that you have that written down, I want you to look at this table. So you have your x values here and your y values here. So it gives us 3 points of data, which if we graph these would be 3 points on a line. Remember, we could represent values with equations, with tables, or with a graph. We actually put it on the x and y in the graph and we graphed it. So I have 3 points, 5 and 600, 11 and 1320, and 13 and 1560. So I'm going to write these like this. There's 1 point, my x value and my y value, big numbers, so we have to put our commas in there to represent the thousandths. Don't let that confuse you. And then my x and my y. Okay, so 3 different values. So this is for Number 1 Toys. We already know the rate for Toys Plus. Okay, so I'm just going to choose the first 2 points because they're lower numbers. So I'm going to plug in, I have my x and my y, so this is x1 and y1. You have your x value, your y value for point 1. And then x2 and y2. I know that's small, but I want to make sure you see that there. This is my second point, that's the 2 right there, my x value and my y value. So now you're going to plug those in to the formula here. So y2 is 1320, y1 is 600, so 1320 minus 600 over x2, which is 11, minus x1, which is 5. Okay, I'll give you a minute to do those calculations. 1320 minus 600 over 11 minus 5. Grab a calculator if you need to. Okay. Now let's see if we got the same thing. I'm going to do 1320 minus 600, which is 720, over 11 minus 5. 11 minus 5 is 6. So 720 over 6, 720 divided by 6 equals 120. So this is my slope or my rate. So for number 1 toys, my slope is 120. So I'm going to set up that equation like this. Y equals my slope times the number of minutes. So what that's saying is they can produce that many toys. They can produce that many toys. That's how long it takes per minute. That's the time. Or the time is here. So that's how long it takes. So let's take a look at that. It wants to know which company produces toys at a slower rate. Explain. Okay. So we're going to find, when we look at that, the rate of production for number 1 toys is 120 per minute. So they can produce 120 toys per minute, which is kind of mind-blowing. The rate of production toys for Toys Plus is 123 per minute. So you would multiply how many minutes to get the total. It tells us that. The total number of toys and the minutes. So since 120 is less than 123, we know that number 1 toys is at a slower rate. Keep in mind, it asks us the slower rate. It doesn't want to know who's faster. It says the slower rate, so it would be number 1 toys. You should write a complete sentence explaining that. Explaining which company produces at a slower rate and how you know. Make sure you explain.